Okay, I want you to look at the closest object to you right now. Could be a coffee mug, could be your phone.
Whatever handy.
Right. And ask yourself a question that sounds, I don't know, completely ridiculous. How do you know, I mean, with 100% certainty, that if you drop that mug, it won't just float up to the ceiling?
Or, just vanish. Poof.
Exactly. Or turn into a bunch of flowers. It sounds absurd, but if you really, really think about it, you don't have a logical proof. You just have an expectation.
An expectation built on experience. And that's really the crack in the wall that we're going to crawl through today.
It is. We live our lives wrapped in this blanket of certainty, but today we're taking a sledgehammer to it. We are doing a deep dive into David Hume's An Enquiry concerning human understanding. And honestly, this text, it doesn't feel like some dusty old philosophy book. It feels like a demolition project.
That's a great way to put it. A demolition of the human ego, almost. Hume is this ultimate empiricist. He refuses to believe anything, and I mean anything, that can't be traced back to a specific feeling or a concrete experience.
And our mission for this deep dive is to follow that trail. We're going to find out why your reason is basically just a slave to habit, why you can never really prove a miracle happened, and why the human mind is a lot more fragile than we like to think.
It's a bit of a wild ride,
Yeah.
but the point isn't to leave you in despair. The point is to clear away all the junk, all the superstitions, so we can figure out what we can actually know.
So let's start where he starts, the basic geography of the mind. Hume says everything and he means everything. Going on in your head falls into one of two camps, impressions and ideas.
Right. And the key difference, the phrase he uses is force and vivacity. How much punch does it have?
So an impression is what?
An impression is the live event. It's the immediate sensation. You touch a hot stove, that's searing pain, that's an impression. You see a bright yellow car drive by. The actual seeing of the yellow, that's the impression. It's vivid, it's powerful.
Okay, so it's the difference between being at a live concert, feeling the bass in your chest,
Yes.
and then remembering that concert a few years later. The memory is the idea.
Exactly. The idea is the faint copy. It's the echo. And Hume's point is that no matter how hard you try, you can never summon up an idea that has the same force as the original impression. You can think about being in pain, but you're not actually in pain.
Which is kind of a profound thought on its own.
Yeah.
It means we're always living with these faded, degraded copies of reality.
We're living in the echo. And he takes it even further. He says every single idea, no matter how wild or creative, is just built from the Lego bricks of simple impressions you've already had.
Okay, but hang on. This is where I always get stuck. I can imagine a griffin, a lion with eagle wings. I've never seen one.
You haven't, but you've seen a lion.
Yes.
And you've seen eagle wings.
Right. Yeah.
Your mind is just doing a cut and paste job. You're not creating something new from nothing. You're just remixing the old tracks. He uses the example of a golden mountain. You've seen gold. You've seen a mountain. Mash them together. There's your idea.
So we're not creators. We're just collage artists.
That's it. His challenge is show me an idea that isn't derived from some prior feeling or sensation. Think about a person born blind. They can't imagine the color red. They have no concept of it. Why? The impression never got in. So the idea can't be formed.
He even says a gentle person can't really conceive of inveterate revenge. They haven't had the impression of that feeling.
But here's what I love about Hume. He's so intellectually honest that he actually builds a flaw into his own argument on purpose.
The missing shade of blue.
The missing shade of blue.
Yeah.
He says, imagine you've seen every single shade of blue that exists. We lay them all out in front of you on a spectrum from darkest to lightest, but we take one shade out, we leave a gap.
So you've never had the direct impression of that specific shade.
Correct. The question is, can your mind look at the shades on either side of the gap and just generate the missing one? Can you imagine it into existence?
And he says, yes, you probably can.
He says yes, which totally breaks his rule. But his reaction is fascinating. He basically just shrugs his shoulders, says it's such a singular, tiny exception that it's not worth tearing the whole system down for, and he just moves on.
The exception that proves the rule, literally. Okay, so we have impressions and ideas. But our mind isn't just a photo album. It connects things. And this brings us to the main event.
The billiard balls.
The billiard ball problem. This is about cause and effect. It seems like the most basic thing in the world, right? Fire causes heat. Pushing something causes it to move.
It feels like bedrock, like logic itself. But Hume argues we don't know this through reason at all. Not one bit.
What do you mean?
Okay, so he imagines Adam, the first man, perfect rational mind, but zero experience. He's never seen the world before. He sees a fire, it's bright, it's flickering. Can he, just by looking at it, deduce that it will burn him?
No, of course not. The property of burning isn't written on the flames.
Exactly. He can't look at water and know it will drown him. The surface qualities of an object don't reveal its secret powers. You can't just look at a piece of bread and reason your way to the conclusion that it will nourish you.
So back to the billiard table. I see a white ball rolling towards a red ball.
Right?
I know, absolutely know, that when it hits, the red ball will move.
Yeah.
But Hume is saying, my reason doesn't tell me that.
Your reason has no idea what will happen. Logically, couldn't the two balls just stop?
Yeah.
Or couldn't the white ball bounce straight back? Or couldn't the red ball just, I don't know, turn into a puff of smoke?
Well, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but it's not a logical contradiction. A round square is a logical contradiction. A billiard ball turning into smoke is just weird. Your mind can conceive of it happening, so why do we only expect one outcome?
Because I've seen it happen a million times before.
Yes, that's the only reason. Experience. He says, custom, then, is the great guide of human life. We are conditioned animals. We expect the future to look like the past simply because it always has. It's a habit of the mind, not a law of logic.
Wait, so the belief that the sun will rise tomorrow, that's not a logical certainty, it's just a really, really strong habit.
That's his skeptical conclusion. We can't prove the future will resemble the past. We just have an incredibly powerful instinct that it will, an instinct we need to survive.
Wow, okay. This gets even stranger, though, when he starts talking about power or force. We say things like, gravity pulls the apple down.
We do. We talk like we can see the necessary connection between the cause and the effect.
But Hume says we never see it.
Never. You see one billiard ball move, that's event A. You see the second billiard ball move, that's event B. You see them one after the other. You never, ever see the force or the energy that connects them.
Not even in our own bodies. Like, I decide to raise my hand and it goes up. I feel my will causing the action.
You feel the will and you see the motion. But do you feel the neural pathways firing? Do you feel the synapses and the muscle contractions? The actual connection between your thought and your arm moving is a complete mystery to you. It's a black box.
So the power isn't in the objects at all.
It's in our minds. After seeing event A followed by event B 100 times, our mind develops a feeling of expectation, a customary transition, and we project that feeling onto the world and call it a law of nature.
We're basically inventing the glue that holds the universe together because it makes us feel better.
You got it. And once you accept that this habit, this custom, is the strongest form of proof we have, well, that has massive implications. And this is where he really goes for the jugular.
Section 10. Of miracles.
This was the part of the book that got him into so much trouble. He takes this whole idea of uniform experience and forges it into a weapon.
So first, how does he define a miracle? Because we say things like, it's a miracle I found my keys.
He's much stricter. For Hume, a miracle is a violation of the laws of nature. A dead man coming back to life. A voice from the clouds. An iron axe floating on water. Something that breaks the absolute, uniform experience of how the world works.
And he's not saying miracles are impossible.
No, technically the billiard ball could turn into a bird. He's saying it's impossible to ever have enough good evidence to believe a miracle report.
It's a probability game.
Exactly. He tells the story about an Indian prince who lived his whole life in a hot climate. Some travelers tell him that in their country, water becomes so hard in the winter that an elephant could walk on it.
And the prince, of course, calls them liars.
Right. And Hume says the prince was reasoning correctly. Based on his own firm, uniform experience, water is always liquid. The testimony of a few strangers couldn't possibly outweigh a lifetime of evidence to the contrary. He was proportioning his belief to the evidence.
So now apply that to something more extreme. Someone tells you they saw a statue wave.
Okay. You have two possibilities on your scale. On one side, you have the claim that the laws of nature, as we know them, were suspended. A law that has held true for every statue for all of human history.
And on the other side of the scale.
You have the claim that this person is either lying or mistaken.
And given that we know people lie all the time, and that our senses deceive us all the time.
That side of the scale is always going to be heavier. Hume's maxim is that no testimony can establish a miracle unless the falsehood of that testimony would be more miraculous than the event itself.
Which is a bar that's almost impossible to clear.
He thinks it's completely impossible. Get this, he gives a hypothetical. He says even if every historian agreed that Queen Elizabeth died, was buried, and then a month later came back to the throne to rule, he still wouldn't believe she was resurrected.
What would he believe instead?
He'd believe it was a trick, a vast conspiracy, that they faked her death. He would believe any explanation, no matter how elaborate, before he would believe that a fundamental law of nature that dead people stay dead was broken.
He also has this great psychological point about us. We love stories about miracles.
Oh, we love them. The passion of surprise and wonder is it's a very pleasant emotion, and it makes us gullible. We want to believe the amazing story, so our critical faculties just shut down.
So, okay, where does this leave us? It feels like we're being backed into a corner of total doubt about everything. If we can't prove cause and effect, if our memories are just faulty copies, should we just sit in a dark room and question everything?
And that's the key. Hume says no. That kind of excessive skepticism, he calls it Pyrrhonism, it's a fun game to play in a seminar room, but it's impossible in real life
Why?
because you still have to get up and leave the room through the door, not the window. You still eat when you're hungry. Life, he says, action and occupation will always cure you of that extreme doubt.
Nature is stronger than philosophy.
Nature is always too strong for principle. Instead, he recommends a mitigated skepticism.
Which is just being humble.
It's being humble. It's admitting the limits of human reason. It's saying, look, we're probably never going to know the ultimate origin of the universe or the true nature of the soul. So maybe we should just stop arguing about it and focus on what we can investigate.
Science, history, ethics, things in this world.
Exactly. And that leads to this absolutely fiery conclusion to the book. I mean, it's one of the most famous endings in all of philosophy. He tells you what to do when you go into a library.
Right. He gives you a 2-question test for any book you pull off the shelf.
It's incredible. He says, take any volume. Ask yourself first, does it contain any abstract reasoning concerning quantity or number? In other words, is it math?
If no, then you ask the second question. Does it contain any experimental reasoning concerning matter of fact and existence? Is it science? Is it history?
And if the answer to both of those questions is no,
Commit it then to the flames, for it can contain nothing but sophistry and illusion.
burn it. He's
Yeah.
saying if it's not math and it's not science, it's meaningless noise. It's a radical call to clear away the clutter.
So after he's demolished everything, what's the final takeaway? What are we left with?
I think we're left with a more honest picture of ourselves. We are not these angelic, rational beings. We're animals, guided by instinct and habit. And that's okay. Custom is what allows us to navigate the world and survive. We don't need absolute certainty for that.
That's true. My belief that this table is still here when I close my eyes isn't a logical conclusion.
Yeah.
It's just a powerful blind instinct.
And that's the final wonderful paradox he leaves us with. Your reason, if you follow it, dissolves the world into a series of disconnected perceptions in your own mind. But your animal instinct screams that the world is real and solid, and you'd better not walk into a wall.
And in that fight, instinct always wins.
It has to. As he says, be a philosopher, but amidst all your philosophy, be still a man.
I love that. You can ask the big questions, but you still have to live.
Yeah.
Well, that's our deep dive into David Hume. Keep your impressions vivid.
And maybe question your habits once in a while.